Yes, welcome back to the South Australian Sports Show. Rocky, time to turn our attention to bowls.
Yep.
And the master of media of Bowls SA, Peter March, been good enough to give us some of his time. Pete, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, mate. Now, the Night Owl series is over.
Yes, the series concluded at the Toorak Burnside Bowls Club. 24 teams played off. 5 went through undefeated. It went to a countback, and the winners were the Bell Ends from Port Noarlunga Bowling Club.
Right, so they take it pretty seriously, the Night Owls. It's well-organised format.
Well, some of the names are a bit off, a bit iffy, but these guys at this end of the competition are taking it very, very seriously.
Mate, the Night Owls has been a huge success for bowls. Yeah. Could you see, I know this season's finished, can you see it short break and then rolling on again quickly?
Well, I think we take a few months off. I think it relaunches again in September. But I think one of the reasons that Night Owls is so popular is because it's a loose format. So effectively clubs sign up to take on the Night Owls brand, and then they can run it however you like. So there's no set structure. Well, you're part of a wider competition, but there's no set structure as to how many ends you play, what time of day you play, or when you play. Obviously, night is when it's going to be run. But the final itself was played on a Sunday day at 1 p.m. So the good thing about it is the loose structure, so people can come and primarily they're having a good time while playing a bit of sport at the same time.
I've seen some of the structures, you know, they can wear whatever they like, they can play barefoot if they want to. There's been a fair range of, what's been the most outrageous one you've seen for Night Owls?
Well, I haven't seen a lot, to be honest, but I know you can't wear high heels.
So. You're not good for the pitch.
No,
not good for the course. Now, mate, you've been good enough to bring some footage in for us with, let me get this right, mate, Brooke Fogden and Kieran Spawn from the Millswood Bowls Club. While we're rolling that out, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Correct. Well, these two fellas have been instrumental in resuscitating or reviving the Millswood Bowls Club, which was close to going under. These guys have a bit of profile, both being ex-footballers.
Yep.
And so they ran a Night Owls competition there. They're a big part of that. And the Mental Health Commission of South Australia came to them and asked them if they wanted to be involved in a video destigmatising some of the myths around men's mental health.
Guys in particular do have a tough exterior generally, they have a thick skin. The more that they know mates and friends are around to be there for them, I think is really important, and they've got to know that they do have support and friendship. Being on a national reality TV show, bearing my tears to everyone in Australia was pretty daunting at times. It was hard for me because I basically had all my dignity and ego squashed, and it made me feel very vulnerable. I had to ring some mates just to actually hear their voice and get them to make me laugh. I basically always tell them, just say something that makes me laugh. So I met Kieran when he first came back from Melbourne, and I think somehow we just hit it off straight away. I think he's obviously from a country background as well, so we sort of clicked a bit. He's been a great friend and done quite a bit together, and now we're obviously heavily involved with the Millswood Bowls Club and the revival of that.
We both had that connection because I think we're both country boys. I was a small town of 300 in Brooks and Loxton. I guess we grew up only about 100k away from each other, and then we met each other in Adelaide, and we started getting together on a Friday night, just having a couple of beers to chill out, and we just both make each other laugh, and we were both fairly competitive. Yeah, I had a friend who unfortunately committed suicide late last year, and we had no idea. And at the funeral, all our mates, when we were sitting outside having a yak about it after, we were really angry because we had no idea. He didn't talk to us about it. We all thought there's so many people around him that we could have helped him or talked about it.
I think everyone has struggles, I think, in different ways. Some people are upbeat and happy, but there might be something else going on, whereas some people are a little bit more forward and they probably do show their emotions a bit more. I know that over the last few years I have, which I never thought I had emotions like I've shown, but I think if men are struggling, if they could, just open up to a close mate or a close friend. I know sometimes the pain is unbearable for some people and that's why they go through what they do, but there are people out there that can help you, and the first person you turn to is obviously your partner, and if you can't do it with your partner or talk to your partner, then turn to a mate. Just let them know that you're there. You can go down to the pub, have a beer, go fishing, go for a hit of golf, or and talk things out.
And the video itself, you thought was a good package?
Well, the video itself was wonderfully made. So the Mental Health Commission have brought in an agency to take care of the production for them, and it really is just a wonderful video set to the backdrop of these two out having a bowl and a beer and just chatting all things.
It's hard to believe Kieran would have a frothy. Who would have thought that Kieran Sporn would have a beer in his hand?
Well, with Brooke, mate, he wouldn't have an option either.
He wouldn't either, and,
No.
and Kieran's wife Vic doesn't mind a frothy either, so
Well,
there'd be
there
a
we
fair
go,
bit
so.
getting drunk there on. Now, the South Australian men's side, mate, champions, great win for us.
That's right, yes. It's the first time the men's state team, South Australian state team, have won the Ali Shield since 1988. So this is a huge win for the men's state team. The tournament was held in Lockleys a couple of weekends ago. Representatives from around Australia, so all states and territories were on show. And the boys from South Australia only dropped a match to New South Wales, I think it was. So they did really, really well. In the end, it came down to Victoria having to beat Tasmania on the final day's play, because I think Tasmania were undefeated as well. So we were relying on our enemies from across the border to knock off the Tasmanians to help us bring home the bacon.
And they did the right thing.
And they did the right thing. So that was certainly very exciting. And I believe there were 4 or 5 guys in the team that weren't even born the last time South Australia won the Shield.
wow.
So certainly very significant.
And it was the last game of the tournament as well, Pete, is that?
That's
so
right.
It came
yes.
right down to the...
That's right. Yep. So I think the South Australian team was sitting there for about an hour watching Victoria and Tasmania play off, praying for the result. And what made it that little bit sweeter was, I think last tournament South Australia went down on the final day to ACT, which effectively lost them the Shield. So a bit of salvation this time around for them.
Pete, for the viewers, when you talk about the Ali Shield, that would be the equivalent to, say, the Sheffield Shield in cricket?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So this is top state honours, really. It's the national tournament where you get all the bragging rights.
And there was a fair bit of bragging afterwards?
Well, yeah, there was. There was for the most part.
You were hesitant there for a minute.
I think some of them celebrated pretty well.
Yeah.
As you do
Plus,
when you take out a
it's
title like
condensed
this.
into the 4 or 5 days as well, isn't it? So the big excitement going all the way through with checking tables and ladders and who's beating who and where we're sitting
absolutely.
on the... So,
Yep, that's right. And really what you could compare it to is it's much like a cricket match where they start at about 9 in the morning, play till about midday. That's one match. They have lunch and then they come back out and play for another 3 or 4 hours. So they're really playing for about 6 or 7 hours a day over 4 days. So while you're only rolling a bowl, you're out there for that many hours, that many days. It really does take a toll on your concentration and your mental stamina as much as anything else.
Yeah. Mate, we've spoken to a couple of the boys over the journey with the Bowls SA segment here, and some of them were pretty upbeat going in, that they thought they were a good chance to win it.
Yep.
Did you have that feeling during the week? Were they pretty confident?
Well, we're always going to be optimistic. We have to be.
Yep.
They're our team. I think on the home deck, we were always a really good chance, given that it was in our home state. But we have some really top-notch players in the state team as well. I think there's 2 Jackaroos, Wayne Rudiger and Scott Fulburn, are both Australian representatives at the moment. So to have a couple of guys like that in your squad, I think Scott's the world champion as well.
How do they select the team that actually represents the state? Is there a solid selection process?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of pathway events that the guys and the girls play in throughout the year, which earns them selection. And selectors will be out at these tournaments having a look, much the same as any sport, really.
Yeah.
The best players get through.
Mate, some of the players, of course, look after the greens at the clubs they're in, so they get to practice whenever they want. It wasn't any India stuff going on here, doctoring of the greens on the way through, was there?
Well, I couldn't say for certain, but I in all honesty, I think you do set the greens up to give yourself the best shot.
And why wouldn't you?
Yep.
Now, Lockleys, why does Lockleys get chosen in the end to be the...
Well, to be honest, I wasn't around at Bowls SA when
Good political answer. What a great political answer.
I suspect South Australia won the bid, or it was their turn, and then within that there would be a bidding process amongst the clubs to say who holds the tournament.
All right, so Night Owls is finished. State champs are over. What's next for Bowls SA?
Well, most of us now get to let our hair down on May 12 when Bowls SA hold their big awards night, which will be at the Donato Reception Centre in Kilkenny. So that's a wonderful way for us to celebrate all the great achievements that have happened across the sport across the year. It's not your McGarry medal type where you're doing the 3, 2, 1 for the best player. It's recognising seniors, volunteers, your juniors, coaches, administrators, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good night for us to acknowledge the best in the sport.
It is a ripper. I went to the one last year at Morphettville Racecourse and it was a spectacular night. So for those that are viewing, you should get on the website, see where it is and go and have a look at it because it was a great night. Pete, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Pete.
I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon. Stay with us, people. Still plenty to come on the show.